There is many great JoJo villains. However, in my opinion, Dio Brando is undoubtedly the best one. Here is why Dio Brando is the best JoJo villain. We see in part 1, he's constantly making trouble for Jonathan, trying to ruin Jonathan's life. The first time they meet, he kicks Jonathan's dog and gets into an argument with Jonathan. He also beats him up really bad in a boxing match, as well as forcing Jonathan's girlfriend to kiss him and then slapping her across the face when she tries to wash her mouth with water from a puddle. So a reason I think Dio is such a good villain is because of just how evil he is. He feels like pure evil. He feels like a great example of evil. He just feels extremely evil and like a character that's taken over by evil. He's selfish, only cares about himself. He enjoys constantly harming others and will just do whatever he wants. Plus, he has a very strong personality. He's very confident and egotistical, but he's someone who can also be frustrated and angry when he doesn't get what he wants. He is also intelligent. He's a pretty good manipulator and good at planning things out, has a good strategy to come into the Joestar family and ruin Jonathan's life and how he acts around people. He rejected his humanity to become a vampire, and now he looks down on humans. He sees himself like a god and that humans are like nothing in comparison to him. He doesn't have much sympathy or empathy for humans or others. Also, the fact that Dio just continuously went after the Joestars for 100 years, and how during part 1 he was so obsessed with going after Jonathan and the entire time trying to ruin his life and never leave him alone to the end, being the reason why Jonathan had to die. Dio is a determined and motivated individual, but at the same time he's evil. So his goal was to take out the Joestars, and as evil as his intentions are, because he was so determined and ambitious, he's able to do a good job and give the Joestars a very hard time. You could also consider Dio a narcissist because he seems to believe that the world revolves around him and is kinda disconnected from everyone else's reality. So how careless he is for life, like any type of life, whether it's a dog, whether it's a human, or even another vampire, shows how selfish he is and just how self-centered he is, how careless he is for others, how he's an individual that is not trustworthy. He's a backstabber. He gained the Joestar's trust and Jonathan's trust, and then ended up killing Jonathan's dad. He even killed his own dad, Dio Brando. And that's an extremely evil act. If Dio was charged with everything he did as a crime, he'd be in jail for a long time. If anything, he'd probably get killed or the death penalty because he's just done so many bad things. Dio's also a very charismatic and likable character, even though he's so evil. I guess it's because his character has a cool character design, because of his strong personality, as well as the fact because he's understandable. Dio's a character where every time it looks like he'll get along with someone or is not going to do something really bad, that's not the case. He backstabs someone or causes something really bad to happen. It's like he never stops with doing evil. I think that I really like that his character's a vampire. I think that vampires are pretty cool, and it really helps his character because normally people see drinking blood as crazy, and that's what vampires do. Also, he drinks the blood of humans, which is like showing how he's almost rejected his humanity and how he is now a vampire, and it just makes him seem even more evil, how he's just killing people and drinking their blood. I also think Dio in part 1 was better than Dio in part 3. I think his character design was better. I also thought that his voice was better because he had a British accent. I just thought the way they used him was also overall better. Him in part 3, he's still good. He comes back now having Jonathan Joestar's body and is constantly sending enemy stand users after Jotaro and the rest of the group of the main characters. Dio doesn't appear as much in part 3, but when he does, it's very interesting and makes the part much better. His stand ability was really cool, how he had the ability to stop time, and I also really like to stand the world and the design. It was golden and muscular. His fight against Jotaro was really good. Probably the best fight in all of JoJo's. We also saw him betray some of the enemy stand users that he had going after the Joestars during part 3 because he cared more about himself, so he didn't want there to be any chance of them betraying him or somehow helping the Joestars out. So even if they were fully loyal to Dio and would do anything he says, he still didn't care and was ready to take their lives. I think a really good way to see just how evil Dio is comparing him to other characters or other villains. You see that he's more constantly just doing evil. He's always doing things that cause a problem or harm someone. And it seems he doesn't have any moral that shows any appreciation to others other than Jonathan, since he's impressed by him. But even though he's got respect for Jonathan, he's still gonna take his life. But we've seen many other villains before, like let's say for example Kars. He wasn't constantly doing evil as much. He was focused on his goal of getting the red stone. We even had seen him save a dog. Or Yoshikage Kira. He wouldn't go out of his way to just harm as many people as possible, and he seemed to have more feelings for others than Dio does. Whereas Dio, he just goes out of his way to make as much evil as possible, cause as many problems as possible, and while being as in control as he can and as powerful as he can. He rejected his humanity to become more powerful, to become a vampire. So he definitely does care for himself and only wants good for himself, but this doesn't apply to others. Dio also has a lot of good lines and moments, especially in part 1, that really catch your attention and show off his strong personality. They show that he's evil, but they also make him seem really charismatic. He's supposed to be so evil, but at the same time be so charismatic and charming, because he's sort of supposed to be like the devil, how he's tempting to listen to or trust, but in reality he's just pure evil. I think Dio in part 6 has a good character design. I know a lot of people tend to really like his character design in part 6. I would say that I like his character design in part 1 the most. Then after that, part 6. Then after that, part 3. So part 1's definitely Dio with my favorite character design, but I would say part 6 is my second favorite, while part 3 is just my least. I didn't think his character design was that great in part 3 compared to the other two parts. His face looks a little bit more ogre-like or too masculine in part 3. And he wears yellow clothes, which I just don't think look as good as what he wore in the other parts. And I just don't think he looked as good in that art style. Dio's an unforgettable character. He's very memorable and unique. He's a character that really catches your attention because of just how strong of a personality he has, all his confidence, how egotistical he is. He can be aggressive. He's got a very eye-catching appearance. He's incredibly evil. He just constantly made hell for Jonathan and relentlessly does whatever he wants and is so determined. I think he's also a villain that you don't get tired of seeing. He's very entertaining and the parts with him are very rewatchable since he's in them. I would say I actually would have wanted to see him even more in part 3, and I would have wanted part 1 to be longer, and then we got to see more of him as well in part 1 just because it was longer. But overall, that's why I think Dio's just such a great villain and why he's pure evil and the best JoJo's villain. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Is Dio Brando your favorite JoJo's villain? Is he one of your favorite villains? What do you like about him? And is there any things you don't like about him? What things about his character really make him stand out to you? And I'll see you in the next video.